So this is a road bike, as you're probably well aware. You've got 3 contact points on a bike. You've got your saddle, you've got your pedals, you've got your handlebars. Probably the one that gives most people the most grief is the saddle. On the saddle you've got 3 contact points as well. You've got your sit bones sit on the saddle, and your soft tissue is well, your saddle is pressing into your soft tissue at the front there. The cutaways help, but you still got some of this bit sticking out the front, which can provide a little bit of pressure. So if your saddle is too far forward, if your saddle is tilted too far down at the front, what's going to happen is you're going to get very little pressure on the front, and all the pressure on your is going to be on your sit bones. So you're going to get pain right in your arse. Where if your saddle is tilted too far upwards, you're going to get a lot of pressure in your front soft tissue. But we all know what I'm talking about, right? And you're going to have reduced pressure on your sit bones. So what you want to try and do is get it equal, so you're not getting too much pressure at the front and not too much pressure on the rear. So I'm going to show you how I set it. There's lots of books and YouTube videos that says to make sure your saddle's level, but no one tells you where or how to make sure your saddle's level. They don't actually show you how to adjust it. They might put a spirit level here, they might put one there, but for the whole saddle, it's better to have it is to put a flat board across, because the saddle dishes. So I use a chopping board. Anything else that's flat, I've only got a chopping board, but a clipboard or a plank of wood that's wide enough to cover the front and aft part of your saddle. So I'll go and get the bits ready, and I'll make some adjustments. At the moment I'm finding that I'm getting a bit of pressure here anyway, and not so much pressure on the sit bones, but quite a lot of pressure here. So my saddle should be 0, but I'm suspecting somehow I'm slightly up at the front, but we'll have a look. Hello, here we go. I'm going to adjust the tilt on my saddle, and what I need is a flat board. I'm sure Mrs. Old Man won't mind me using a chopping board, or a clipboard. I haven't got a clipboard, but what I found is this a nice flat board works, and an app called Saddle Adjust. There we go. Open up the Saddle Adjust app, and I don't know if you can see it clearly there on the screen, but we have a picture of a saddle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place this flat board on the ground where my bike is. Okay, and then I'm going to 0 it. So it's asking me, do you want to recalibrate? Yes. So that's now set to 0. I don't know if you can see that, but that's now set to 0. I'm taking my flat board and I'm going to place it on top of my saddle. Okay, I don't know if you can see that, but a saddle, there is a slight gap in the middle there. Now if I put my level indicator there, it's now telling me that the nose is up. If I put it there, the nose is up by 3 degrees in that position, and the nose is down 1.5 degrees in that position. So if you have it roughly in the middle, it's very hit and miss where the saddle is actually 0. Like I said, the saddle it tends to bow that way, and as you tend to sit in a saddle rather than on a saddle, it's better to get it level. So there we are. I've calibrated the app, Now it's actually telling me that my saddle is negative 1.3. That's negative. That means it's sloping downwards. Is that right? No, it means it's sloping upwards. And I actually need it to be 0. So that's 0. So what I need to do is to tilt the saddle downwards slightly. I'll go and get the spanners and I'll make some adjustments. So I've loosened the bolt off and I've tilted my saddle downwards, and it's now gone to 0. I've got my trusty torque wrench, and I'm now going to tighten the screw clamping my saddle to the seat post. Okay, so there we go. I've adjusted my saddle, I've retightened it to it says it's 12 Newton meters. So using my trusty torque wrench, I've now torqued it up to 12 Newton meters. So that's the saddle has gone from minus 1.5 to plus 0.2. Now that should, in theory, make my saddle a bit comfortable. Sorry, I'll cut that bit out. Right, I found that this part of my saddle was giving me too much pressure. Your sit bones sit about here on the saddle, but this part here was giving me too much pressure right on the very end. So I've now tilted that down by 1.5 degrees. Now that the saddle is now dead level, within 0.2 of a degree, which I think is good enough for me. So that's it. That's how I adjust the tilt of my saddle, is I use a board across the top, and the same applies for the mountain bike. As you can see on the mountain bike, the saddle is a bit more concaved. With this, the rear is slightly higher than the front. Well, this only looks like it, but it's actually level, dead level. I set that at the beginning of the year, and that doesn't give me any issues at all. So back to the roadie. That's it. That's now set with I don't know if you can see that, it says 12 Newton meters. That's what it says on my seat post, and that's how I set that.